I want to talk about the black church. And the reason I do is because I'm damn near born and raised in the church. My granddaddy been preaching for 57 years now. So when I ain't gonna lie, when I listen to your opinions on the black church, I kind of tune out just because it's kind of personal with me. But since we are having this conversation, I'm very interested in, how you feel about the black church.
In order to understand my criticism of the black church and its Pan-Africanists, we believe in freedom of religion. Marcus Garvey was a Christian. Malcolm was a Muslim, right? Most of my Pan-African forefathers, Bishop Turner, Alexander Crummell, Henry Holly Garnett, Edward Wilmot Blyden, these were pastors of the church, you see. Yeah. Pastors of the church. I had a red tie. Here we go. Pastors of the church, most of my Pan-African forefathers. So my issue is not with Christianity. I got a black Jesus tattoo on my left shoulder. Jesus was a revolutionary. I rock with the message of Christ. My issue is with the lack of accountability and service that the black church delivers to the black community. You got to realize, from a historical perspective, the black church was the Walmart of the black community. What I mean by that, if you was hungry, they fed you. Unemployed, they got you a job. Ku Klux Klan burning crosses on your lawn, they gonna go see them. Shootout, the church is there with the guns. You need to bury somebody, they had the death insurance. Your child needed education, they got the school. You feel me? The black church was the one-stop shop for everything black people needed, from their revolutionary needs to their political needs to their spiritual needs. Compare that to the black church today. You got black churches that won't even bury you if you ain't got enough money paid into the church. These churches are asking for your tax return when you walk in the door. You got churches with ATMs in the lobby. And here's my issue with the black church. The black church takes three things from black people we can't afford to waste, brother. Three very important things. Time. Time. You don't get your time back. You got to go to prayer, Bible study, choir, women's meeting, men's meeting, blah, blah, blah. You're taking time, but you ain't building no institutions. Every black church should have a school for our children because most teachers are what? Affiliated with churches. You ain't got no after-school program. You ain't got no math program, no tutoring program, no rites of passage program. You collecting all this money, but you ain't doing nothing for our children. You ain't got no jobs for our men, no jobs for our children, no jobs for our teens. Here's the question. Name me a church in Chicago, a black church, that's at the forefront of the fight against miseducation. You can't name one. At the forefront of the fight against mass incarceration in Chicago. Can't name one. Name one that's at the forefront against the fight to stop gentrification or the migrant takeover. A church. Can't name one. Name one that's at the forefront to stop police brutality, police genocide. You can't name one. Black America's 5 major problems doesn't have a single black church spearheading the pushback for any one of them. You take our time, you take our energy, and you taking our money. Our money. Black people on average every Sunday nationally gives the black church $3 million a Sunday. Collectively. $3 million every Sunday. No schools, no banks, no hospitals, no supermarkets. How can I support the black church? My issue is not the doctrine. My issue is the lack of deeds. And this is why I understand when Karl Marx, and I'm not a communist, but I understand when Karl Marx said religion is the opiate of the people. It brainwashes you into political inactivity. The reason why black people in Chicago are sitting back watching these brown people take over their neighborhood is we've been brainwashed through church, through mosque. When I speak of church, I mean all the religions, not just Christianity. We've been brainwashed through black religion into believing that God is going to fix our problems when God is ready. Where else were we taught that? We were taught that on the damn slave plantation. Wait for God to come solve your problems. I understood it on a slave plantation because you were shackled. I understood it on a slave plantation. You lose your life if you tried to run away. I understand waiting for God to intervene on a slave plantation because you had no power. Why in the hell in 2023, 404 years later, we still waiting for God to intervene when we are a $2 trillion people? Do you realize Black America is the 10th richest economy in the world? We're the richest group of blacks on earth. in terms of income, and we waiting on Jesus and Muhammad to solve problems that we have the wherewithal to solve ourselves is not acceptable. Black women, $30 billion on weave and perm. White women have made you feel that unattractive that you spend 25% of your disposable income trying to look like them. Black men, $4 billion on liquor, $2 billion on Air Jordans, $100 million on chicken, turkey, beef, and pork, which means we're literally financing our own cancer diagnosis. I mean, the reason people have trouble feeling sorry for Black America is Black America got the money to solve their own problems, but they're not interested because it takes love to do that. And for 400 years, we've been taught how to hate ourselves.
So let's go there, Black economics, right? The Black dollar. It circulates everywhere except in the Black community.
16 hours. The Black dollar leaves the Black community in 16, not even 24. It don't even take a whole day before that dollar jump out your hand. Jewish community, I think it's something like 18 times. Asian community, I think it's something like 28 times. Everybody else's dollar circulates more than a dozen times before it leaves. Black community dollar, it leaves within 16 hours. You know why? Because Black people are allergic to other Black people. We would rather buy white than buy Black. I'm gonna give you a personal example. I just told you about the sneaker shop where my mother used to buy my shoes. Next to the Garvey movement, you see this? Right across the street from the Garvey movement in the white sneaker store was a Black sneaker store. Guess what? Everybody still bought their sneaks from the white Jew. The Black man was out of business in less than a year. See that? And he had better prices and better sneaks. It didn't matter. Black people love white people. And one of the things we do not want to admit, and one of the things that's going to be necessary for us to overcome our situation, we don't want to admit the psychological dependence on white folks. This is why you hear Negroes say things like integration destroyed Black people. Who integrated us? There has never been integration. There's only been desegregation. Deseg is not the same. When you desegregate, you forcibly remove the legal barriers to entry. So public schools desegregated. They removed the barriers that excluded Blacks. But did they force you into the white school? No. When they desegregated the white hospitals, did they force you to close down your Black hospitals and start going to the white hospitals? Did they force you to leave your Black communities and move into the white community? Did they force you to stop sending your children to HBCUs and start overwhelmingly sending them to PWI universities? The white man desegregated, the Black man integrated. We wanted to be with white people. We love white people. Why do you think educated Black men marry snow bunnies more than the men of every other race put together? We are intoxicated with Caucasian people, and we keep on making excuses as to why we don't want to leave them people alone. And truth be told, it's because of our racial inferiority complex that has us believing that if you ain't got no white people around you, if you ain't living with white, if you ain't dating white, if you ain't sleeping white, if you ain't working white, if you ain't learning white, then you are an inferior being. This is exactly why Black parents will spend $20,000, $30,000 a year to send a child to a white private school. We're not even talking college. We're talking grade school. $20,000 and $30,000. I know because I do the IQ testing to make sure they don't have no disabilities in order to get accepted. And I'm looking at what these parents is paying these white folks so they can get a thorough education on how to hate being Black and how to be enamored with white skin. And then when your daughter comes out wanting to look like a white girl, you say, what happened to my child? And when your son come out wanting to date nothing but snow bunnies, you say, what happened to my son? You are what happened to your son. Black people do not want to be free. We want to be accepted by white people.
That's a bar.